up and running, people who graduate, make sure they keep in touch with your organizations, because once, give it a couple of years, 5 years, 10 years later down the road, some of them will have children as well, right? By keeping in touch, chances are that it becomes second generation coming to your schools, right? So that's why alumni groups could be very, very interesting. Content contribution, again, status updates, sharing information, we'll come to that later on. Events preparation and follow-up, that's specifically for Patricia, but I guess also for most of the others as well. Finding new customers, in this case you're finding ambassadors and other people as a goal. Proactive strategies, right?
Yeah, is it correct that you dive into this?
Yes. Let's say it's half of the day will be diving into some of these things, right? Now, it is impossible to do everything today. As I said during my introduction, our longest course on LinkedIn is 10 full days, right? So it's impossible to squeeze everything in one day. You would be, one, it's not possible, and even if it would be too much, it would be overload. I think some of you might already get an overload at the end of this day, because we go through a lot of stuff, right? Does this make sense? Passive, active, proactive. So also for the founders and the people at social media and Patricia going out as networkers, I would say your profiles are key as well. Because what's the first thing people would do is they look you up, right? So yes, a person who's doing the accountants at your organization must have a profile, but when you talk about the founders or the people leading the organization, they want to have the vision about the organization. They want to have what's the roadmap, how we're really going to change the world. Different kinds of rich media on these profiles than on these profiles. Right? With me on this? Mm-hmm. So you will have a shift and not everyone will have the same profile altogether. Status updates. If Richard Branson does a status update, the ripple effect will be many, many times different than when an intern at his organization does an update. But both of them have their value, right? The intern status update is valuable for his or her network at peers. This is about vision and creating more branding, right? Different kinds of status update. Both of them are active, and we'll talk about that later on as well. Finding people, same thing. Organizational level, yes, you need to have your company profile worked up and spiced up, but also showcase pages. And one of the things we're going to discuss later on is everything going to be under Global Education 300, or would you have two company pages? Or will you have a showcase page where the butterfly-wise school or the system is a showcase page under a company profile? Now, if you haven't seen showcase pages yet, we'll talk about that after the personal profile.
This one is really, really important because we have different parts of components in the project.
Yes. And you build different kinds of followers. And again, I'll explain that in due time, alright? Now you also have active strategies, right? Company status updates, we'll talk about that as well. But you also have paid for solutions, marketing, sales solutions, and talent solutions. This is where LinkedIn, makes their money.
So for our organization now to get money, it's more interesting to really work on LinkedIn than work now on Facebook.
To be honest, if you're looking at investors and ambassadors, you don't have to convince me, but I'm 100% certain about that.
That's why I thought it was important to put LinkedIn here in the middle because it's B2B. Yeah.
One of the things that we've seen is that Mike might have told you that, Gwen, but one of our customers in the UK is the biggest service center for charities. What they do is they raise money for over 80 charities. We trained them, and after the first half day that I did the training with them, they raised an additional £500,000 due to one introduction. The example that I used during the course, that was the person they were introduced to, and they signed a £500,000 contract. They were over the moon.
And who was it?
That was for the Red Cross, one of their customers. But if they can do it, you can do it as well.
Yeah. So
no, but who was the
this
one
is the main focus then.
So yeah. Here you come.
I didn't catch it.
Ik vraag wie heeft die 500.000 close weer ook wel.
Yeah, but you need people who really are enthusiastic about your project.
Yeah, of course,
And
yeah.
we have more than enough people who really like the project. We only have to put a few things.
A few, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about those few things.
Yeah.
But I hear you. So what I'm saying is that on top of everything else, and we briefly touched base in this this afternoon, is marketing solutions. Yes, you can do advertising, you can do sponsored content, and again, it doesn't say that because you have to pay for it, that you have to pay for it. It could be part of a sponsor deal that a sponsor would pay for you to use their marketing space. Does it make sense? Right. So again, I'll explain some of these things now.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do. Yeah.
Sorry?
That's a good thing to
Yeah,
do.
I think so. And then of course, sales solutions, how to work together in teams, talent solutions, and of course this is where the extra value sits even more.
Because,
active is fine,
also
but proactive certainly,
In our
especially for fundraising.
in our packages, there is also part of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So we are not totally agree what it would be because Herman is working on it.
Yeah.
And it has to be approved by Mike.
Yeah.
But maybe because you are now into that you can add more value.
Yeah, sure. That's again also why I'm doing this session. All right. Cool. So is this clear, guys? Yeah. Any questions on this? So you see how you can use LinkedIn throughout the whole organization and the extended organization with your teachers, with your partners, sponsors, etc., etc. Okay, cool.
So is it important then that all our teachers or all the people who are connected with Butterfly Wise to help them set up their own page? Okay.
And that's part of the training rollout later on. We will help you with, if you bring on board, let's say every week 10 new teachers, how are we going to do that, right? Then we go to blended learning and other kind of solutions. Or we train a trainer within your organization to do that, stuff like that. There's different ways to approach that. But that's exactly what we're putting in mind. Alright, so time to dive into passive strategies. Again, if you do have questions, please ask them. So when we talk about passive strategies, the first thing we'll talk about is the LinkedIn profile matrix. So depending on what is your role within the organization, so Veerle is looking for a job, so either you're a job switcher or unemployed or just graduated, your profile will look different than from anyone else who is already employed and not looking for a job, right? So the elements in your profile, which they are, we'll talk about later on, but you can change, for example, the order. So when you're looking for a job, your expertise is more important, while, for example, with Marika, for her it's more about the branding and starting conversations on social media. So these kind of content will have priority, and the skills that she has, it's important, but will be lower on her profile. Does it make sense? So depending on who you are, what your role is within your organization, you have a different kind of profile built up. I know there are LinkedIn trainers out there who have a one-size-fits-all. We don't buy into that. We say it's bespoke for whatever your function is. Okay. And so some people have active and proactive roles, others have more passive roles, and so not everyone has the same profile, not even coming from a point of content-wise, but a lot of things need to be put in place. Let that be clear. Alright. Cool. So I brought up your profiles, Brioni and Gwen, and when you look at it. Sorry? What?
Brioni?
Okay.
Can you add me so I can see? I just sent you a request. Gwen, I can't request you. It's not an option. You block the request.
Yeah.
I can see you. I cannot. You can add me, Manel, if you're the statista.
Yeah.
You cannot request me.
So,
no.
What is the first impression?
Wow.
Let's say you're outside of an organization. I know it's not 100% clear of the distance of the beamer, but what you see here is that your profiles are different. So you see that your picture here, Gwen, is probably at least 2 years old.